2 weeks without sugar, and your body changes in ways most people never see coming. Not just the number on the scale. Your face looks different, your thinking gets sharper, your sleep improves, and it happens faster than you'd expect. Once you understand what's actually going on inside your body. This isn't a diet promise. This is biology. Specific, documented changes that start the moment you cut out that one ingredient. Let's start with what almost everyone notices first and almost no one expects. Your face changes. Not gradually, not subtly. Many people report seeing it in the mirror after 7 to 10 days. The roundness goes away. The puffiness around the eyes and cheeks disappears. The jaw looks sharper. This isn't weight loss, it's inflammation coming down. Sugar triggers a constant, low-grade inflammatory response in the body. That inflammation shows up in the face as swelling, particularly around the eyes and cheeks. When you remove the sugar, your body stops having to maintain that state. The result is literally visible. And here's the part that surprises most people. At the same time, you'll likely drop several pounds in those first 2 weeks, and most of it is water. That sounds disappointing at first. It isn't. Because it explains why you felt heavy and sluggish for years. Every gram of stored sugar, stored as glycogen in your liver and muscles, holds 3 times its weight in water. That means people eating a lot of sugar are constantly carrying extra kilos of water weight around with them. When you stop, your body starts releasing it. 10 to 13 pounds in 2 weeks is realistic. That's not a miracle. That's just biology. But let's go deeper, because that's only the beginning. There are 4 organs that respond especially strongly to sugar and that recover especially clearly when you take it away. Start with the eyes. Sugar damages the tiny blood vessels in the eye, particularly the retina. That's why diabetics frequently develop a condition called diabetic retinopathy, a gradual destruction of the retina. You don't need to be diabetic to feel the effects. Many people report blurry vision that clears up within weeks of cutting sugar. The eyes are extremely sensitive to blood sugar fluctuations. When those stop, the eyes notice immediately. Then, the kidneys. Sugar in the bloodstream has to be filtered through the kidneys. Too much sugar over too long damages the tiny filtering units called nephrons. The result can be protein in the urine, frequent urination, especially at night. Many people who quit sugar report suddenly sleeping through the night, not because they're more exhausted, but because the kidneys aren't working overtime anymore. That sounds minor. It isn't. Salvaging your sleep changes everything. The arteries. Excess sugar oxidizes the inner walls of your blood vessels, like rust forming inside a pipe. The walls thicken. The diameter narrows. Blood flows less efficiently. Blood pressure rises. This is the mechanism behind a large portion of cardiovascular disease. And it has far less to do with dietary fat than we were told for decades. When you cut sugar, those vessel walls start recovering. Blood pressure often drops measurably within 1 to 2 weeks. Many people find they need less medication. Always work with your doctor on that. And then the nervous system, including your brain. Diabetic neuropathy, nerve damage from high blood sugar, typically starts in the feet. Tingling, numbness, pain. That sounds like a condition only severely ill people deal with. But even subclinically, below the diagnostic threshold, elevated blood sugar affects the nervous system, including the brain. When you stop eating sugar, many people report a shift in mental clarity within days. Concentration improves, short-term memory sharpens, mood stabilizes. That sounds like marketing. It's actually neurobiologically explainable. Now we get to something I promised you at the start, why you stop being hungry after you quit sugar. The human body has exactly 2 fuel sources, sugar and fat. And given the choice, it always picks sugar. Always. That's not weakness. That's evolution. Sugar is fast and easy to burn. Fat is slower, but it lasts. The problem, the average person consumes an estimated 270 to 300 grams of sugar per day. Once you count not just the obvious sugar, but all the carbohydrates the body converts into glucose, bread, pasta, rice, cereals, fruit juice, beer, it all ends up as glucose in the bloodstream eventually. When you stop supplying that amount, something decisive happens. Your body has no choice but to switch to fat burning. And then you see why this is so powerful. A lean person carries roughly 80,000 to 100,000 calories worth of fat on their body. Stored sugar? Maybe 1,500 to 1,700 calories. The ratio is absurd. When you switch to fat fuel, you suddenly have an enormous stable energy reserve and no more swings. no hunger between meals, no afternoon crash, no cravings. That's the exact mechanism behind why cravings disappear. When your body is burning its own fat between meals, it's fed. It doesn't send a hunger signal. You stop thinking about food constantly. The transition takes about 3 days. The first days can be uncomfortable. Headaches, fatigue, irritability. That's real. It's also temporary. After that, most people describe an energy that feels fundamentally different, quieter, steadier, more constant. What you can do practically, reduce carbohydrates to under 50 grams per day. Not just table sugar, bread, pasta, cereals, fruit juice, sweet fruits. That sounds radical. It's also the only way to actually trigger the switch. Now we get to the core, the thing I hinted at right at the beginning. Behind almost every issue I've described so far, there's one underlying principle: insulin resistance. This isn't a term reserved for diabetics. It's a condition that, according to current research, affects a significant portion of the population and quietly influences almost everything that isn't working right in your body. Here's how it works. Insulin is a hormone released when sugar enters the bloodstream. Its job is to transport that sugar into cells. When you eat a lot of sugar for a long time, insulin keeps getting released, and eventually cells stop responding to that constant signal. They become resistant, like someone who lives next to a highway and eventually stops hearing the noise. The body responds by producing even more insulin to push through the resistance. That sounds like a solution. It isn't. Because excess insulin has its own consequences: fat storage, inflammation, disrupted nutrient absorption. Insulin doesn't just regulate sugar. It also controls the uptake of potassium, magnesium, vitamin B1, vitamin D, calcium, and amino acids. If you're insulin resistant and your insulin is chronically elevated, your body absorbs these nutrients poorly, no matter how healthy you eat. That explains why some people have deficiencies despite a good diet. It also explains why some people are stuck at a certain weight despite exercising and eating less. The body has set a set point, and insulin is holding it there. When you stop eating sugar, that cycle starts to unwind. Insulin levels drop. Cells become sensitive again. Nutrient absorption improves. The set point shifts. And with that, many symptoms that seemed unrelated gradually disappear. Fatty liver reverses, because the majority of liver fat comes from carbohydrates, not dietary fat. Elevated cholesterol often improves within weeks. Heart risk drops. Cancer risk, according to current research, also influenced, because cancer cells are particularly dependent on sugar as fuel. That's the real reason why 2 weeks without sugar can change so much. It's not a miracle. It's not a diet. It's shutting down a system that's been running at full throttle and slowly wearing your body down in the process. So, what really happens when you go 2 weeks without sugar? Your face gets leaner, your sleep improves, your energy steadies out, your thinking clears, your joints feel less stiff, your blood pressure drops. And deep below the surface, a system starts working again that's responsible for almost everything in your body. The one thing you can do tomorrow: spend 3 days just reading the ingredient labels on everything you eat. Don't change anything yet. Just read. You'll see how much sugar is hidden in products you never suspected. Yogurt, canned soup, bread, sauces. That alone will change how you shop. Now I'm curious about your experience. Is there a food that shocked you with how much sugar it contains? Once you actually check the label, write it in the comments. It's one of the most common realizations I hear from people, and I want to know what caught you off guard. In the next video, we'll go into how to actively reverse insulin resistance with concrete steps that go beyond just cutting sugar. That will be one of the most important videos on this channel. Subscribe now so you don't miss it. What I share here is based on current research and personal experience with this topic. It's not a substitute for medical advice. If you have health conditions, talk to your doctor before making major changes.